of this season's Scottish Cup semi-finals. It is St Johnstone against Celtic, and with the stadium raucous and bathed largely in sunshine, it is full live commentary here on Sports Sound on BBC Radio Scotland with Pat Bonner, Alan Preston and Liam McLeod.
Yeah, it looks like a mismatch on paper. Top of the Premiership facing bottom of the Premiership, but it was a gap that was bridged by St Johnstone just a short fortnight ago. As that Balodi's goal early on saw them stun the champions as they prepare to go head-to-head for the 9th time in the Scottish Cup. St Johnstone have only won one of the previous meetings in this tournament. It was 89 years ago as well. 6 Celtic wins in the 6 meetings since. It's the 4th time they've met at Hampden. Celtic have won the other 3. St Johnstone look to win back-to-back games against Celtic for the first time since 1998, when they won away and home. Dazovic scoring in a 1-0 win at Celtic Park, before Simao and McInnesby scored in a 2-1 win in Perth, with Larsson scoring for the then defending champions Celtic. And of course, they are potentially just 6 days away from being crowned again when they go to Tannadice in the first post-split league fixture for them. Hampden, just about the whole pitch bathed in sunshine just now here on Glasgow's south side. The 2 sets of players are just about ready to go. The Celtic team are into their huddle right now. Sinisalo in goal, Johnstone, Carter Vickers, Scales, Taylor, Engels, McGregor, Hatate, Forrest, Maida, Ida. James Forrest, incidentally, scored the winning goal here in a League Cup semi-final meeting between them a few years ago. Saints were the holders at the time. They've got Fisher in goal, Balodi, Sprangler, Douglas, Curtis, Holt, Griffith, Duke McKenna, Carey, Sidibe and Clark. St Johnstone are going to get the second of the semi-finals underway. Who will face Aberdeen in next month's showpiece after the Dons defeated Hearts after extra time yesterday? Saints kick off, and it's Clark immediately rolling it back there to Holt. 2 experienced campaigners, shifted out to the left for Barry Douglas, who has another long ball down the left-hand side, which Carter Vickers races out to the right-hand side for Celtic, who are going right to left towards the Mount Florida west stand of the stadium. Saints shooting east in their blue shirts, white shorts, blue socks with the white tops. Celtic in the green and white hoops here, as Carter Vickers picks up inside his own penalty area and squares it to his goalkeeper. Sinisalo, who continues in the absence of Kasper Schmeichel, looks as though his season may well be over. We'll keep an eye on that. The final coming in 5 weekends' time. Sinisalo rolls it to Carter Vickers. Of course, St Johnstone, Alan Preston, scored inside 4 minutes 2 weeks ago. They would love that again, give them something to hold on to.
Oh, they certainly would, Liam. You know, there's times you say, can you score too early in a game? You can never score too early.
And here comes Celtic, who love this stadium these days, love this big pitch. It's McGregor to the edge of the box. His shot is blocked, breaks to Forrest over on the right-hand side of the penalty area. He's still on at the edge of the area despite the duress he's under. Swivels, turns, shoots towards goal. It's deflected out to the right where Johnstone picks up, level with the penalty spot, and rolls it back along the grass to McGregor. And now Carter Vickers finds the Celtic captain. And if he makes it to the final, he will be protecting a 100% record in cup finals in his youth and senior career. As Hatate rolls it forward to the edge of the box again. Onto it's Taylor. He's inside the box, turns it to Engels, encouraged to shoot. So a really good slide challenge there, right at the last from Balodis. Saints get it half away, but here comes Forrest down the right, gets his chip cross ball into the penalty area. Ida and Maida go for it, and it ricochets between the two of them, and it falls kindly for Fisher. But it is an ominous start to the game for St Johnstone as Celtic come rampaging at them inside the opening 2 goalless minutes.
Yeah, a couple of chances on the edge of the box. I think McGregor initially tried his luck. I think the crowd forced him into trying a shot, but he had a couple of chances, a couple of blocks from St Johnstone on that edge of the box, which they had to do. I think the best probably opportunity was for Engels. He took an extra touch, but I think he just needed to hit the strike off his second touch, and he just took an extra one to give Balodis a little chance to close him down. But good defender from St Johnstone, but Celtic just pushing him back to the edge of their box.
And already, Liam, you can see how important Forrest is for Celtic. He's got a phenomenal record against St Johnstone. Scored a hat-trick, I think. Is it 15, 16 consecutive seasons he's scored?
Yeah, I mean, he's scored more against St Johnstone than he has against anyone else in the country. James Forrest, he got 4 in one game against them.
Up there, yeah.
And as I said, that League Cup semi-final in 2021, St Johnstone had won it earlier that year. So it was a delayed League Cup final because of the pandemic at the time. They beat Livingston and then went on to beat Hibs in the final of this tournament. Midas had it pinched off him, driving down this right-hand side. St Johnstone have it with Victor Griffith. Then turned out to Sidibe on this near side. Field that comes to Carey, left-footed ball towards the edge of the Celtic box, is cleared by Carter Vickers up towards the edge of the centre circle, and now Adam Ida's onto it. Eager to make the most of another start. He wasn't able to get the score sheet against Kilmarnock last week. It is Forrest on the ball, and it's a low ball midway inside the St Johnstone half to Taylor. Taylor then turns it low with the left foot to the right for Engels, gets his cross into the box, cleared there by Sprangler, who just picked up just left of the penalty spot. Nicky Clark's on to Lena Spring. Celtic on the counter here. Chip ball forward for Sidibe. Will come all the way through to Sinisalo. Almost 4 minutes in, nothing each, and there is a whole heap of smoke billowing from the end off to our left, where the St Johnstone supporters are housed. Clearly the crowd, the Saints crowd, is dwarfed by that of Celtic as the goalkeeper Fisher comes to the left angle of his box with Ida chasing it down and heads out for a Celtic throw-in over on that far side, level with the edge of the D of the Saints box.
Yeah, it was good play by Fisher there. He read the situation well, because Adam Ida had gone down into that sort of left channel down the centre half, and it looked as if he was going to get it. It was right out on the edge, corner of the box, but Fisher read it really well.
Celtic with McGregor pushing it forward onto the chest of Forrest. It's hard work for St Johnstone. This Forrest got himself free. He's driving into the area. He's going to shoot. It takes a deflection. It goes behind for a Celtic corner. St Johnstone are just trying to get through. If this was a boxing match, these first couple of rounds,
well, they should be taking a knee if that's the case. Honestly, that's relentless from Celtic. Forrest has had a brilliant start to the game. It's a wonderful run.
Yeah, Celtic take a short, quick corner. It's dropped to Hatate, right-hand side of the area, under pressure from Carey. Gets it to Johnston, dinks the ball in. It's flicked away. An important clearance with Carter Vickers lurking. And they'll go out for a Celtic throw-in on this near side. Taylor will take. Now it's with Scales. The smoke now beginning to waft its way from left to right. Celtic attack the goal to the left. As we peer through the smoke at them, they are like a machine right now. St Johnstone trying to stop them in their tracks with Hatate at the edge of the box. He shoots and it's dragged wide with the left foot. That will be a goal kick to Saints. Here it is 0-0.
These pyrotechnics are a nightmare. If St Johnstone want to score, they wouldn't see it. I just don't get it.
I don't think they want to see the start of it, but the way things are at the moment, Alan, because they're getting pinned back almost in their box, and they're just hanging on, hoping that they get through this first period.
Yeah, I mean, this is par for the course in this fixture. The victory for Saints a couple of weeks ago is an outlier, because it stopped a run of 31 games without a victory against Celtic, which dated back to the tail end of Ronnie Dyla's time in charge in May 2016. And that was their last defeat as a club in 69 domestic matches. Rodgers taking over not long after his first spell. Here comes Scales rolling it down the left-hand side for Maida. He keeps it in play, but it's turned out there for a throw-in by the Irishman Curtis. Celtic have a throw which Taylor will take. It's almost about level with the edge of the D of the St Johnstone box. Bowled in by Taylor to Hatate. Now it's with Johnston. Then over to Forrest as they switch again, left to right. Forrest on the right side, then field to Hatate, misjudges the return ball, gives it straight to Clark and rolls it back to the edge of his own box. The Celtic players are all over them. And it's Jason Holt running back in towards his own box there. Curtis is then tripped to the ground by Ida, and St Johnstone have a free kick inside their own box.
You just need to take the time, St Johnstone. It's been a relentless start from Celtic. They're all over them, as you rightly said. So Fisher this time's a free kick inside, a yard inside their own box. St Johnstone, just take your time. Yeah, they want to try and play it at the back, but it's very difficult because Celtic are on the front foot. You can see it from here, but we are brilliant vantage point. He's going to have to kick this long, Fisher.
Brendan Rodgers, 14 successes out of 14 here, as we were saying earlier, but he has been pushed into the last three 3-3 draws, both got to penalties in the semis last year against Aberdeen, and then Rangers in the League Cup final this season. Sidibe charging down the right, tackled well by Taylor though, and Scales will tap it back to his goalkeeper. 7.5 in it, 0-0.
One thing about Sidibe, he's won 2 headers already against Carter Vickers.
He has, he's got a good spring, hasn't he? He's not the biggest, but he certainly has won that battle in the air.
Well, I mean, if they can get him into the game, Sidibe can be a threat, but it's Carter Vickers launching it long for Ida, and it just bounces away from him, and through it comes to Fisher, who's been an excellent signing. St Johnstone not been on the worst run of late. They didn't lose at Tannadice last weekend. I think you were at that game, Alan.
Yes.
It was a match that they did have opportunities in to take something. That long ball down the right-hand side towards Curtis is headed away by his compatriot Scales. Carey pokes it to the right of the centre circle here for Griffith. Short ball to his left for Strangler, who's at the drop back into defence. That's the paucity of the options that the Saints manager has. Sidibe chases after it. Carter Vickers is in a bit of bother with Sidibe in his early exchange. Sidibe plays it off Carter Vickers and behind for a St Johnstone corner.
Brilliant, really good play by Sidibe. Good play by St Johnstone up that left-hand side into Sidibe's feet. As Pat said, he's not the biggest, but he's very strong, he's very quick, he's good in the air, and he held off Carter Vickers there, quickly get turned and get the shot off, deflected wide for a corner. And this is where St Johnstone take their time, get good quality coming in from Carey. They might cause Celtic a bit of problems here.
Oh, we know the quality of Carey. We saw that in his quarter-final winner against Livingston. It's the deepest Saints have gone in the competition since they won it in 2021. 3 first hurdle exits. Even the lower league sides. It's Carey with the outswinger. It almost made it to Clark, and then stabbed away by Liam Scales to safety, with Balotis lurking, looking to repeat the trick of 2 weeks ago in the Fair City. It's come all the way back to Fisher at the edge of his box. And St Johnstone will have to try and get forward again, but that will give them a little bit of confidence that Celtic could potentially be got at this afternoon.
Yeah, and it was good build-up play from them also from that perspective there. They won the ball back in midfield again, and just gives them a little bit of hope.
That's a free kick.
Yeah, well, it looked like it was. Carey's gone down, but the referee, who is Callum Scott, biggest game for him so far in his career, he didn't see it as a foul, so Celtic play on. It Scales across the halfway line. Rolls it out to Maida. The two managers there, Valakari to the left, Rodgers to the right. It was the Finn who came out on top last time. Johnstone rolls it out to Forrest on that right-hand side. He's got 1 or 2 for company out there, and including Barry Douglas. With Celtic pick up, shifted to the left. Scales looking for Maida, and even Dyson Maida decided against running after that one. I think if he didn't have that moment of hesitation, he would have been able to keep it in play. It's just trundle over the line for a goal kick to St Johnstone. Nothing each.
It's been a good start from St Johnstone. They're still in the game, and that's 10 minutes in. They'll be quite happy with this. You know, they've been under a bit of pressure. Fisher's not really had a safety make so far, but you're 10 minutes in and you'll be clock watching. You'll be saying, right, next target's 20 minutes.
It's going to be a long afternoon against the Celtic side. As Douglas picks up over on the left, rolls it infield to Griffith, back to Douglas. He's moved it into the midfield. It's a little bit fortunate that it comes to Carey, who sweeps it high forward with the left foot. June McKenna chases, but Sinisalo's outside his box to clear it. Hatate picks it up as well. First time ball out to Forrest on the right. It's now midway inside the St Johnstone half. It's up in the box, plays it square, infield to McGregor, takes a touch, then shoots with the next touch, and it's a low effort which the goalkeeper holds on to. A little bit of a daisy cutter that from Callum McGregor. He got plenty behind it. The goalkeeper wasn't unduly troubled, and it stays St Johnstone 0, Celtic 0 after 11.5 minutes.
Yeah, midfield St Johnstone are sort of almost kind of gun man for man with Holt picking up Ingles. I think it's Griffiths is picking up Hatate, and now Nicky Clark is given a role to come sort of back and pick up McGregor, and that time McGregor seeing the opportunity to exploit the space and driving into it and picking up that ball, and Nicky Clark, being a striker, is never gonna probably able to attach himself to him and stay with him, and that was a big opportunity for him.
Scales for Celtic, rolling it in behind the defence, and Ida chases. He's going to get there just before the byline, but it's knocked out there by Balodis for a throw into Celtic, level with the St Johnstone penalty spot. Maida's going to leave it for Taylor. That is something that Celtic will try all day long, and get their strikers in behind the defence. It's such pace in the forward areas. It's cleared by St Johnstone. Scales gets onto it, turns it high down the left-hand side, and headed out for a throw-in by Curtis for Celtic on the Celtic left. Down below us in front of the main south stand here. It's Greg Taylor on the ball. Goes it in field to Adamida. And just turned out again by Curtis for another Celtic throw. It's Johnstone trying to stand firm in the face of this. It's going to be a throw-in which Taylor will take again. Pulls it into the box looking for Ida. Ida holding off the defender. He shifts it to Maida. It will be cleared though by Barry Douglas, who picks up just to the left of the penalty spot, gets rid of it.
They've got to watch that, St Johnstone. It's an easy throw-in into Adamida's feet, and then they can get runners off him. They've got to get someone in front of Ida to protect it.
The Celtic on the ball with Johnstone over on the right. Moves it in field to Carter Vickers, right at the centre circle in the Saints half. To Johnstone, forward to Engels and back to Carter Vickers. Finds Hatate, first time from Hatate. Douglas read it well though, now it's with Nicky Clark. It's a poor ball from Clark, he's trying to find Duke McKenna down the left. Duke McKenna's brought to the ground there by Johnstone. They couldn't profit from the loose ball. And it is nothing each. And the Saints free kick just left to the centre circle.
As Alan says, St Johnstone will be very happy actually that they've got over that initial period. I think it was about 6-7 minutes where they were pinned back, and Celtic looking to strike early in this game, really to settle themselves down. It hasn't happened, so now St Johnstone's starting to come into the game a lot more, and Celtic just have to keep patient.
The early goal St Johnstone would have dreaded hasn't come to pass. It is Valodis, the right side of the defence, clears from the edge of his box. It's helped on its way by Curtis, but it's going to come all the way through to Sinisalo. Plays it short to his left for Scales. Scales at walking pace. Low ball into the St Johnstone half for Ida. Valodis for company. Short ball back to Johnstone. Now to Ida on the right, and back to Johnstone again. Johnstone named in the PFA Scotland Player Team of the Year. The awards dinner next month. It is Maida on this left-hand side. Going to get the cross in. It's good play from Maida. Gets the ball across, headed away by Balodis. Turn back to the edge of the box for Forrest, who's a snapshot with his weaker left foot, and it goes about a yard or so past the right-hand post, and it stays Saints 0, Celtic 0.
Yeah, it was a decent strike. It just off target. The goalkeeper scrambling. But you know, I think he might have had it covered if it was inside the post. But it was a decent effort from James Forrest. Find himself in again. He won't stay wide, James Forrest. That's the beauty about him. He will find himself in areas where he becomes a real danger in that second phase and third phase.
Only Rangers have been able to knock Celtic out of this tournament in the last decade. 3 times it's happened. The last team to beat them in the Scottish Cup that wasn't Rangers was Cally Thistle, when they did so in controversial fashion in the semis 10 years ago. Josh Meeking's handball and all that, as Cally Thistle went through to the final and went on to lift the trophy. Nobody apart from Rangers has knocked Celtic out of the Scottish Cup since then. Forrest collects on the right, level with the edge of the centre circle in front of the north stand, back to Carter Vickers, and now Hatate. Celtic fans dominating, as I said, sweeping all the way around from down below us, all the way to the right, all along the north stand into the west stand. Saints off to our left in the little corner as Maida rolls it back to Taylor, and then back to McGregor. Here where the St Johnstone fans are is where they normally see the away fans for Scotland matches here. As McGregor rolls it down the left-hand touchline for Maida, level with the 18-yard line of St Johnstone, turns it back to Hatate. Short ball to Engels, then back to Johnstone. Johnstone then to Hatate over on the right-hand side. Forrest's on the touchline, faced by Douglas. Trying to torment the veteran. Back it comes to Hatate, low ball. Engels tries to work it back to Forrest, but St Johnstone managed to get it half away. Duke McKenna's made a mess of it though. Johnstone picks up the scraps in the right, gets his cross in, cleared by Holt. And Nicky Clark does well to work it to Duke McKenna. He's looking to get Sidibe engaged in the Celtic half, and it's a foul by the St Johnstone striker on Carter Vickers. Defended well on that occasion. It's going to be a free kick to Celtic, nothing each.
I don't mind Sidibe having a go there. He's trying to win the balls, played down the line, being a bit physical with Carter Vickers, that's fine.
Yeah, and if anything with Celtic too, they've got lots of possession around, great rotation, movement, but they're just maybe overdue with an extra pass when they maybe...
There's a great ball. Hatate's found Maida, left-hand side of the area. His ball across is cut out by Curtis and behind for a corner, but that is Celtic all day long.
But for any young player, Liam, coming to watch a wide player, just watch that movement. He goes inside and then he checks and then goes long and the ball's put up the inside. It's brilliant movement from him, really is. And you just wonder, where's his best position? Is it wide? Pat, is it centre forward? Plays centre forward for his country.
Yeah, listen, I think he plays so wide for Celtic that even if he was playing sort of an inside, sort of almost left position, he could make those runs in almost to get himself in and top of goal. But listen, you're talking about his movement, you're talking about his pace, you're talking about his power also, and that. So yeah, that's a good question at the moment. But he's
Engels with the corner, and it comes. Maida almost got the flick header to it. Taylor turns it back to McGregor. He goes for goal. It's blocked again. The bouncing ball McGregor's on to over on the right, and he finds Forrest. Forrest runs into trouble in the shape of Griffith, though. He rolls it to Douglas. Celtic actually had two corners there. The first one from Engels was low into the box, was poor. Was turned behind by Carey for another corner. The second one was better, but Maida, stretching his neck muscles, couldn't make any contact with it, and now it's with Sidibe down the left, midway inside the Celtic half, but he runs it straight into touch and out for the Celtic throw-in. Lost his bearings there, I think. Played almost 19 goalless minutes here in the second of the Scottish Cup semi-finals.
And that's a crucial word for St Johnstone, it's goalless. Yeah, a lot of possession Celtic have had at the moment, but so far, so good for St Johnstone.
Yeah, Fisher's not had that much to do. You would expect he will go through a period in the match where he will be busy. Sima Valakari accepting that in his pre-match interview. As Maida rolls it back to Scales and infield to McGregor. McGregor pokes it to Engels. First time low ball back to Scales. Scales looks up at the St Johnstone box. It's short to Greg Taylor. That inverted possession to the left of the D. Now out to Maida. Back to Scales. Short ball to Engels. St Johnstone standing firm at the moment. Manager's really animated down there.
He's brilliant, Valakari. Just watching him. He's kicking every ball with him. He's moving the players about, and so far so good. There's not been that many gaps.
Scales, low ball forward to Taylor. He's at the edge of the St Johnstone box. Low ball across is cleared by Sprangler on the 6-yard line. Eventually goes up towards the halfway line. Scales' header goes straight to Jason Holt, who's chasing after it, the former Rangers player. He plays it short out to Gene McKenna on the touchline, and then with Douglas, and it's turned back to Sprangler. St Johnstone 5 points adrift at the bottom of the Premiership with 5 games to go.
that was a good ball.
Yeah, Sidibe's going to chase after it, but Sinisalo will come out of his box to the left-hand side of it. St Johnstone right, and he knocks it out for a throw-in.
It's a perfect ball, though. You know, it gets him up the pitch. Yeah. Nice little ball over the top of Scales for Sabedi to run down the channel and force the goalkeeper to knock it out for a throw-in, and it gives him another kind of set piece higher up the pitch.
That's another milestone almost as well, and almost a quarter of the game gone.
Yeah. The one thing in St Johnstone's favour just now is I think it's 7 clean sheets in their last 13 matches, which is a vast improvement on where they were, what they were averaging that in that column earlier in the season. They left themselves too much work to do, though. Came up in 2009 under Derek McInnes, and they've been there ever since and won 3 major trophies in that time. Top 6 finishes, European football. It's been quite the ride, but is it all coming to a shuddering end this season? We shall see. They're holding the holders right now.
Yeah, you can see what they're doing in midfield too. It's almost a man-for-man job. Yeah. If one of the midfielders from Celtic runs almost up level with Adamida, they track him, they go with him. Normally you would be leaving that to your centre half, but that's when confusion. So they know exactly what the manager wants, and they're doing it.
Engels on the right, charged down by Holt, and out for a Celtic throw-in, a bit level with the edge of the centre circle in the St Johnstone half.
And at the moment, there's only that one ball up inside the Curtis, which has caused them a bit of concern. From Daiser Maeda running up the inside of them. That, as a full-back or a wide player, that's the one you don't want. Let them play it wide, don't let them play it up the inside of you.
I wasn't in Perth for that game 2 weeks ago, Alan. How close to this match, Packy? I think you were there, certainly. I think you were as well, Alan. Just wonder how close to the performance level Celtic are at right now compared to that day.
But I think Celtic are looking better. The pitch is better, certainly. But Celtic had 80% possession, Liam, that day. 26, 27 shots at goal. It was relentless.
You kind of expect that with him. As Maida comes down the left, gets his cross ball in. It's a good header away there by Sprangler, an important one as well. So it's picked up by Taylor. This near side, down the left touchline for Maida. Maida skipping in field, gets away from one challenge, away from Curtis, rolls it towards the penalty spot, looking for Forrest. Scooped away though by Barry Douglas. Possession by Celtic right now, it's 65.
Yeah,
that's at the moment.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting game today, but I think both teams are better actually.
Yeah.
You know,
the
pitch has helped. Celtic are moving the ball really well. I think their final ball could be better, and they're making sort of maybe the wrong decision just that vital moment around the edge of the box. They're making the wrong decision sometimes, but in general terms I think they're moving the ball really well, and St Johnstone actually are playing that usual defensive role really well, and then moving the ball well when they get it themselves. So it's an interesting game.
I think they know that if they can hit the corner, St Johnstone, Sidibe will chase it. But defensively, so far, Valakari's got his men spot on. Not big gaps between players.
There's Forrest charging down the right, heading in towards the box. Low ball is good, and it's turned behind by Strangler for a corner. Now, if he's anywhere closer to facing his own goal, he might well have been putting it into his own net.
Again, though, Liam, but he's in the right place. That's where he's got to be, protecting that near post. But you're right, he maybe gets away with one there.
Engels to McGregor, it's all come from the short corner. Taylor at the edge of the box, tried to disguise the ball for Hatate. Perhaps the St Johnstone players were expecting the shot. It's blocked though and cleared. Taylor has it. Celtic come again. Carter Vickers rolls it back to McGregor.
Every player is virtually about 45 yards above Sinicello from the St Johnstone goal.
Their ball forwards cut out. Sidibe gets onto it, but Taylor wins it back for Celtic. How long can St Johnstone withstand this level of duress? It's Forrest over on the right-hand touchline, infield to Engels. Leaves it for Johnston. Low ball back to Carter Vickers.
It's when somebody switches off, that's the only thing. So far, all players have been switched on from St Johnstone. They're doing their job, man for man, marking. The three centre halves will step out when they need to. They're not leaving their spot, and they're able then to maybe pick up the odd ball that sort of can almost.
Carter Vickers goes for goal. He's off target this time. And remember his wonderful strike last week. It must have come into his mind there, and the Celtic fans encouraged him to have a shot at goal there, but it's gone past, and it stays St Johnstone 0, Celtic 0. We played 25 now.
Yeah, I know he scored last week, Liam, but St Johnstone will be happy with that, letting Carter Vickers hit shots for 30 yards.
Celtic frustrated yet at this point?
No,
Not yet.
They're moving the ball well. They're moving the ball well. It's a lot different, I think, from that perspective compared to the game up in Perth, and they'll be happy. It's just Brendan will be saying, just keep moving it off your first, second touch. The moments will come when St Johnstone maybe switch off, or they get a little bit more tired as the game goes on.
I think as well for St Johnstone, Sidibe's got to stay up the park. You know, even he was defending there, 45 yards from his goal. If he can, if he's brave, try and keep Scales and Carter Vickers back. All he does is when he goes back, it invites the two of them down on top of him.
Going St Johnstone on this near side. Curtis will take, but level with the edge of the centre circle. He's looking for a bit of movement in blue and white ahead of him. Looking for Sidibe here. It's a good header away by Taylor. Clark tries to knock it forward towards Sidibe, but Scales is there. He finds Carter Vickers, who goes back to Sinisalo. Now Scales striding up towards the halfway line. Short ball into the Saints half for Ida. Back to Scales.
You think he does getting a bit frustrated there? That's why he's coming so deep to try and get a touch of the ball.
Yeah, well, for the centre halves, there's no problem when I'm coming deeper. It's when he runs down the channel a little bit, but you know, the three of them in there, it's not easy. You've got to try to move those centre halves out of their position also. Somebody else then to run into that space is left.
Carter Vickers infield to Callum McGregor at the right angle of the box, rolls it out wide, touchline level with 18-yard line there for Forrest. Now Hatate. Hatate gets some space, low ball across, Spragler half away, McGregor on the follow-up, it's blocked. Now Engels on the turn at the edge of the box, and it's a smart save by Fisher. Down to his left, Engels got plenty behind it there. And Andy Fisher did well, dived down to his left, and the on-loan Swansea keeper makes the save. Sticky gloves as well. 27 played 0-0.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying about Fisher, that I was impressed with. He makes the ones that could be tricky look quite easy, and he got down nice and sharp, and You know, goalkeepers don't normally hold on to balls nowadays, but he had good hands and took the pressure off. But I think Adam Eden might have been also in his line when that ball was hit.
But it just shows you how important a goalkeeper is. St Johnstone have given themselves an outside chance. Fishers had played a big part in that. Last year they stayed up, but it was down to Meathoff. We won every award at the club.
Yeah, including that incredible penalty save on the last day of the season at Motherwell. That took them up to 10th and plunged Ross County into the playoffs. More drama this season perhaps. Here comes Celtic though. Hatate from the left, crosses in with the right, comes off Forrest's head, and it's easily held on to there by Fishards to the left of his 6-yard box.
Again, good defending by St Johnstone. If James Forrest is going to try and out-jump you at the back post for a header, you're doing something right. Really good defensive unit from St Johnstone. They're getting their distances between centre halves and wing backs just correct. The midfield are doing a good job as well. It's a long way to go still. It's going to be tiring for them, but they're still very much in this game.
Long ball up the left for Saints when it goes out for the Celtic throw-in, which Carter Vickers leaves for Johnstone. And then bowls it back to Sinsalo. He finds Scales. Scales comes up to the halfway line, faced by Clark.
Well, the game has panned out the way we expected, isn't it? Celtic with almost all of the possession. I think St Johnstone getting a free kick and a corner, but that's the only attacking situations that they got into, and Celtic just dominating the game from that point of view. But St Johnstone defending really, really well. Good organised unit.
It's a game plan. We said it at the start. Celtic will have the possession. St Johnstone will play for set plays, Pat. That's what it'll be. It'll be a free kick. It'll be a corner. It'll be something like that coming in. Then they'll hope to get on the end off and score a goal. They've got a little set. Dewey Griffiths and Engels is in the middle of attack, pushing each other.
Well, the ref's just having a word with the two of them. Quite a week this week on Sports Sound. The next match for BBC Scotland will be in the Championship. Partick Thistle Falkirk on Friday night.
And what a big game that's now turned out to be.
Yeah, hasn't it? Just, you're seeing Falkirk have got Hamilton on the last day, but they lose to Partick Thistle.
Thistle will try to hold their place in the playoff position.
Livy at Hamilton the next day. Here comes Celtic on the right hand side, throw back towards the penalty spot, straight to Holt. Groans from the Celtic supporters. Douglas has lost it on the right though. Johnston charges forward, runs into Griffith. Here's it back for St Johnstone on the left hand side. Clears up the line. Jude McKenna with a touch, gets it back to Clark. He's done well. Forward towards Sidibe. Scales heads out for a Saints throw-in. They've dealt with that really well there. 0-0 in the half hour.
They have been brilliant in this opening half, St Johnstone, defensively. To a man, they've been magnificent. They've all known their jobs. It's been very difficult for them. I wouldn't even say they've rode the luck, because if not, they've defended very well.
Throwing right in the halfway line over on the left for St Johnstone as they try and attack the goal to the right in the first half. They've not done much of it, to be fair. Try and give their supporters something to cheer at the other end of the ground. It's a Celtic free kick, comes straight from that throw-in, given away by Griffith. Now it's with Scales, short ball to Taylor in the centre circle, and then McGregor rolls it to his left for Scales. Scales out to Maida on this left flank. And he goes, charging in the box, and field he goes, hits it with the right foot, straight down the throat of Fisher. It's another comfortable save, it's another shot from distance from Celtic. The one thing they're not getting much joy from in this game, and it's the tactic they love to deploy, it's getting the wing backs into that underlapping position, left and right of the penalty box, playing balls in behind. It's not happening for them yet.
Well, Griffiths made an overlap that time, or sorry, not Griffiths, Taylor made an overlap that time and just took his marker with him with that man-for-man situation, and it opened up the space for Maeda to drive on the inside, and the space was huge, but he just didn't. I thought he would have bent that ball round the goalkeeper. He hit it almost straight at him.
Carey over a free kick for St Johnstone. Meantime, this is also level with the edge of the centre circle. It's in the Celtic half, right in front of Brendan Rodgers. Carey's got the quality. See what he can conjure up here. He drifts it with the left foot into the penalty area. It's a header away by Carter Vickers, and Hatate completes the clearance. Out for a throw-in over on that far side for Saints, which will be left by Jude McKenna for Douglas. looking to perhaps play it to Holt, who comes to meet him onto the chest of Holt, who then passes it back to Sprangler, and then back to Fisher. I mean, the Saints team squad is almost completely unrecognisable from the one that started the season under Craig Levein. Not a great ball out of defence there by Fisher. He got a bit fortunate there, it deflected away from the Celtic attackers, but it is the holders on the ball here with Maida on the left flank. Short ball back to McGregor and into the centre circle for Carter Vickers.
Yeah, Maida's looking for some little bit more movement up front, I think, when he picked that ball up. Maybe Adamida should be kind of almost coming away from that centre position and try and make a little run down maybe inside left for him to sort of, it just opens up space then. If you stand, you're not going to move people around, and Maida then just no other option but to play back.
The referee was just getting some advice there from VAR probably, and he said, "Oh, quiet word with Adamida." I just wonder what it was.
Yeah, not that indication myself, Al, but maybe perhaps there was something. As Forrest to the edge of the penalty area for Hatate. Good turn, he's on his left side in the D, leaves it for McGregor. Into the box he goes, and he scores! Fabulous goal from Callum McGregor. The skipper comes up with a piece of magic to unlock St Johnstone and give the holders the lead in the semi. It is St Johnstone 0, Celtic 1.
Yeah, great pick from Callum McGregor, and it was a lovely little play, but the ball initially was played out by Fisher. I think he's trying to hit the striker, and it ends up sort of almost about maybe, what would I say, about 60 yards from goal, and Alistair Johnstone was onto it like a flash and won the ball, and that just opened up a little bit of defensive space that St Johnstone couldn't get any bodies in there, and then Hatate, lovely little awareness around the edge of the box too, backheeled into McGregor's path, and he just beautifully plays it into the corner past Fisher. But yeah, that ball from Fisher just into the striker. I don't know whether the striker didn't move for it, or maybe it was not the right ball to play, but Celtic were onto it like a flash.
I think it was Douglas actually. I think the left wing back goes back and clips it. And you know, St Johnstone, why not just kick it long and play up the park? You're in the game, it's 0-0. You try and drop one in, and then Celtic are onto it like a flash. And you're right, Pat, it's a wonderful back heel from Hatate into McGregor, and he takes one touch to control, and the second one he finds the bottom corner. And he's been doing that all his career. Really good finisher he is, McGregor. He doesn't score enough for the ability he's got, but when he gets in that position, it's a wonderful finish.
Yeah, he's up those stats this season, hasn't he? That's goal number 10 for him this season. It's the first time he's managed that for a while, because he was he exploded onto the scene at Celtic. He was a regular goal scorer.
Notts County, he was flying them in when he went down on loan.
And Maida on the left hand side, low ball across, is cut out, and that will be by Curtis, and behind for a Celtic corner, and St Johnstone breached, and that changes things for them for sure. They now just have to try and stay in this tie.
Yeah, stay in it 1-0 as long as you can, and then hopefully if that's the case for them, with 10-15 minutes to go, the cavalry comes on. If it goes 2-0, it then becomes damage limitation.
Arne Engels over the corner on this near side for Celtic. They try and find a quick fire second, 9 minutes from the break. In swinger with the right foot of Engels into the near post. It's a St Johnstone head that gets it away. Maida nods it forward, but it's launched to safety there by Sidibe's back, helping out in defence. And Salo picks up midway inside his own half and plays it short to Johnston, to the right for McGregor. And the thing for St Johnstone is Celtic will just keep going. They'll keep plugging away the way they have been.
Oh yeah, they just keep playing it. They'll hoping to get that second goal, keeping the tempo up, moving the ball quickly. But again, St Johnstone, you cannot panic. You've got to keep doing what you've been doing throughout the game.
Taylor gets it back to Carter Vickers in the centre circle, to the right for Johnston. Back to Carter Vickers. You're listening to Scottish Cup semi-final sports out here on BBC Radio Scotland this Sunday afternoon, Easter Sunday. Celtic come forward again. Maida's in. Maida scores 2-0 and possibly tie over. Dies in Maida yet again. Pass through to him, left-hand side of the box. But the touch away from the defender, and he arches the low, finish it to the bottom right corner, and the holders surely now will march on to the final to face Aberdeen. It's 2 goals in a couple of minutes, and Daisen Maida knocks home Day 2 of the season, and it's St Johnstone 0, Celtic 2.
Yeah, and that man Callum McGregor involved again. He runs off. I think it might have been Nicky Clark again trying to do a job, and I'm just watching. He runs off into that space, and then he was able to play a little ball through for Maeda, and just gets a little lucky break. Defender goes to ground, and once he's in behind, then it's just all he's got to do is keep his composure to tuck that ball past Andy Fisher into St Johnstone goal to be Celtic 2-0 up. But again, McGregor making that run forward, seeing the space, exploiting the space, and doing it absolutely brilliantly.
Yeah, he's played the captain's role again. It's a lovely little touch from Maeda into his path. But Liam just touched on it 5 minutes ago, a ball up the inside of a full-back or wing-back, criminal, honestly. And for Curtis again, it's the second time it's happened. And then I think he goes with his wrong foot to try and block it. He goes with his right, can he not slide with his left to try and clear it? But it's a really good finish by Daizen Maeda. And it's a long, long way back, if not impossible, for St Johnstone.
Maeda's now just 2 of Kyogo Furahashi's best goal-scoring season as a Celtic player. And Scales finds him again.
Do we need other nominations for Player of the Year?
Well, exactly. I mean, he's a shoe-in, isn't he? An absolute shoe-in. Carter Vickers for Celtic. Midway point of the St Johnstone half with McGregor. Then to Carter Vickers. Again, just showing how important he is to this Celtic side is Callum McGregor as well. Maeda's going to get the accolades. McGregor, when he's in the team, Celtic are a much better outfit.
Well, he's the one that just keeps everything ticking along, you know, and his demands as well. You know, Brendan Rodgers is a manager, but he's on the pitch, he's the captain. His demands of his players, of his other 10 outfield players, 9 outfield players and keeper that's with him is incredible. He's a standard bearer.
Yeah, absolutely. Scales has found Maeda. He's level with the St Johnstone penalty spot. Infield to Hatate, to Maeda, and then to Scales. So St Johnstone, I think they're on to plan C now. It's 2 goals in 4 minutes, less than that, in fact, just under 4 minutes. Celtic are as good as in the final, unless there's an almighty resurrection. And Celtic get a free kick. Johnston foul by Jude McKenna over on the far side. Free kick's taken quickly by McGregor, but too quickly for the ref's liking. Celtic fans have a moan at Callum Scott. But it's impossible. When you see Celtic, it's impossible to see anyone in this country living with them. They just can't. And one of their best performances this season was actually their previous visit to Perth when they stuck 6 past them.
Yeah, you did ask the question earlier in this commentary, where do you get... There's a chance.
Yeah, Engels low ball in and Fisher's onto it.
Yeah, were they getting frustrated? And my answer to you was no, because they were moving the ball well. They were moving it, keep moving it. St Johnstone doing really a terrific job defensively to fill the spaces, stay with them man for man. But there was always coming the moment. McGregor, Hatate involved in the first, McGregor involved with Maeda in the second. Really, really quality from those players.
But it's physically and mentally tiring for St Johnstone. They don't have a lot of the ball. They've got to be really tight, really prepared in what they can, you know. But it's been relentless from Celtic. They've been quite terrific, you know. But you know, St Johnstone, for that opening 30 odd minutes, 35, 36 minutes, whatever it was, for that first goal went in, defended manfully. They were in the right place at the right time.
Oh, worrying for St Johnstone. Celtic took a while to get going, goal scoring wise against Aberdeen in the League Cup semis. Went on to score 6. Right now, you wouldn't put it past them today, repeating that feat.
Well, the question will be, how will St Johnstone get into this game now? That's the question. Very difficult for them.
They can't, Pat. They simply can't. You know, Celtic are relentless. As soon as they give the ball away, they get it back quickly, and they go again. They've got options all over the pitch.
The Saints have got a respite here over on the left, and they'll get a free kick as well. Foul by Engels. We're there on Griffith.
It's a free hit for St Johnstone today. It is. I mean, Celtic are the overwhelming favourites to win this tie. They've just got to make sure that St Johnstone, because there's a free kick.
Yeah, should be. Well, Maeda has just caught the defender on the hop there, pitching it back of Balodis. Rolls it to Taylor and then back to McGregor midway inside St Johnstone territory to Hatate. Then Carter Vickers finds Engels, who shifts it back to Scales.
No, Liam, I was saying, so St Johnstone have got 5 cup finals coming up, but what a heavy defeat here could do to their confidence. You know, it can really damage them.
and they reel in Dundee and Ross County. They're like 5 points adrift at the moment. It's only a goal kick here. St Johnstone, the Celtic fans irate. Despite their 2-0 lead here in this semi-final, they thought they should have had a... Well, that was maybe either still in play or a corner. It's going to be a goal kick to St Johnstone. 42.5 on the clock.
Yeah, full half, and it's in the Sallow. Maybe passed the ball, I think, maybe a couple of times as a link player at the back, but that's about it from his perspective. So it's total dominance, you could say, from Celtic.
12 shots to 0 in Celtic's favour. 2 of them have gone in. Callum McGregor and Dyson Maida with the goals. There will be a free kick need time for a foul on Taylor on this near side.
So we had to shout up here.
Yeah, it appears that Brendan Rodgers is very keen to retain Greg Taylor. I don't know if that means that Jeffrey Sloop isn't extending his stay at the club. Of course, it's well documented Kieran Tierney will be returning to the club in the summer, but he clearly wants Taylor to stay. It looks, for all the money, as though Taylor will be out the door, so he'll know with Tierney coming in.
But you have to go somewhere too, don't you? I know your contract's up, you're not just...
Dinamo Zagreb are desperate to sign him.
There's a change of manager there, though.
Yeah, true.
If I was him, I wouldn't be going there. Might go there for the money, of course, but no, enough for me to tell him where to go. But
Zagreb's a fine city.
In the summer.
Yeah, okay. Well, we've been there in the summer, of course, Alan. Here comes Celtic. Satati, left-hand side of the box, and there's number 3. There's Adam Ida, who taps home the goal, gaping in front of him. And Celtic have a third. The goal suddenly raining in, as they did on Aberdeen in the League Cup semis. It's 3 in 10 minutes. Adam Ida's in the act, and Celtic will be back for the showpiece. It is St Johnstone 0, Celtic 3. We're not at half-time.
Yeah, beautiful pass from Liam Scales. Great run from Hattati in behind the fence. One of the defenders have got to see him coming and match his run. He was a clear run. He was on his own. Lovely little slide pass from Scales, and he had all the time in the world. Just take his time and play that ball across almost 4 yards out for Adam Ida to get there first and just tap into the back of the net and give Andy Fisher no chance in the St Johnstone goal.
Not watching runners. It's Hattati runs off the back of Graham Carey, doesn't know where he is. Ball again's up the inside of Carey. Hattati's to the byline, whips it across, and there's Ida with the simplest of tasks. 2 or 3 yards out, knocking it home, 3-0. But it's just been St Johnstone have switched off. Cutlass for one of the goals, Carey there for one of the goals. And it's very costly. Selikarata again, here we go again.
Hattati, the edge of the box for us to the right. It's still Hattati driving into the penalty area. Maida has it now. He goes for a goal and scores again. It's a brilliant finish from Dyson Maida. This time on the left foot, and he smashes it past Fisher through a ruck of bodies. And Celtic are rampant already in the semi-final. St Johnstone can't live with them. Can anyone live with them? It is St Johnstone 0, Celtic 4.
Yeah, listen, they're on this turned into a massacre now, and really, really difficult for them. Just again, Celtic, 2-3 players almost getting into position where they can get involved in that goal, and there was Kem to Maeda, and he just can almost say, well, I'm going to have a goal here, and he struck it through 2 or 3 players. Goalkeeper again unsighted, no chance.
I'm just wondering if Hattati's in the keeper's way, if he's in his eye line.
In an offside position.
Yes.
Could be.
Yeah.
We're just waiting on confirmation of the goal. They are checking it.
It's a great finish, but I think Hattati could be in the goalkeeper's eye line.
Yeah, you're right, Alan. Just watching the replay there, I think he was, and if you're the goalkeeper, then it must interfere with your vision.
Goals confirmed. It's been given.
Goals given. Wow.
Yeah. 4-0, and some of the St Johnstone fans heading out of Hampden. They do not want to see this. I mean, the parallels with the League Cup semi-final are incredible here as the half-time whistle goes. Celtic took until the 30th minute to score the opening goal against Aberdeen. They were 3-0 up at the break. They are 4-0 up at the half-time interval here. They've been irresistible. 2 from Maida, 1 each from the captain McGregor and Ida. And Celtic are coming back here for the final without any shadow of a doubt now. St Johnstone could do without the next 45 minutes, quite frankly. Celtic having fun in the sun here on Glasgow's south side. It is St Johnstone 0, Celtic 4.
The Scottish Cup.
Live on Sports Sound from BBC Radio Scotland.
Where Scottish football lives.
Imagine you're running to catch the last train, but it leaves in 5 minutes. And you're lost, and you don't have a phone, and everyone only speaks Mandarin. Goodbye Comfort Zone. Race Across the World is back. Starts Wednesday on BBC iPlayer.
You're listening to Sports Sound with me, Richard Gordon, live from the National Stadium, Hampden Park, where I did say earlier that Hampden can be the place of dreams. It can also be the place of nightmares, and that is how it is unfolding for St Johnstone this afternoon. Remarkable. At 34 minutes, it was still 0-0. By half-time, it was 4-0, and it is 4-0 for Celtic. They now, incidentally, have scored 142 goals in all competitions this season, and in getting his 10th of the campaign, Callum McGregor became the 7th Celtic player to get into double figures this season. Compare that to the other sides in the top flight. Rangers have got 3 players, Ross County and Dundee 2 apiece. 5 teams have got just 1 player in double figures, and 3 sides, Hearts, Kilmarnock and Motherwell, have no players who have scored double figures. Celtic now have 7. That is yet another measure of their dominance of Scottish football, and they are coasting to the Scottish Cup final, to the meeting with Aberdeen on Saturday the 24th of May. This is hard to watch for St Johnstone, potentially hard to watch for Aberdeen as well, knowing what they may be up against in just a few weeks' time. It's incredible just to watch. I've got to say, Pat Bonner, I was looking back at my notes there, and Celtic had started the game very positively, and there was a lot of good passing, a lot of movement. They were at times trying to play an extra pass. I'd literally just written in my notes, Celtic levels dropping, passing going astray, and there had been a few passes. Within 20 seconds of that, Callum McGregor scored, and since then it's just been a joyful extravaganza for them, hasn't it?
Yeah, and the only criticism I would have is maybe the final ball in almost an attacking third was sort of missing in that first half hour. Maybe the decisions were maybe slightly off, but from sort of, I wouldn't say back, I would say almost middle to front through midfield, they were passing the ball really, really well, zipping around, obviously the pitch really helping them, and just putting it up to St Johnstone, who were defending manfully, I've got to say, for that period. They were sticking to their task, they were man for man. That's really difficult though, I can tell you. If you're going man for man and players are moving off the ball, the likes of Hattati, Engels, and the rotation that they get, really, really difficult to continue that right through, even for 45 minutes, not alone 90 minutes. And then the gap started opening up, and of course McGregor really influential. I did say at the start, Richard, that McGregor was being picked up by Nicky Clark as maybe a striker coming back to do a job. That's fine when the ball's kind of almost close to him or in front of him, but where McGregor then was exploiting was that huge space between the other 2 midfielders who were going man for man, and they were getting really stretched, and he could just run off Nicky Clark into those spaces, and that's where the goal came from. That's where the second goal came from, and he's such an intelligent player that I don't know if a striker doing that job on Callum McGregor is the right choice. For me, it's got to be a real strong midfielder who has got legs, who sees danger, and can track him all the way and make sure that he's almost the opposite side of you, rather than leaving that space for him to exploit. And his goal was brilliant, the first goal, and that sets it up there, and then the game completely changes after that.
Yeah, that's a fair point. I think they've been ruthless in the last 10 minutes or so, a little bit more than that, including the stoppage time, Alan. A couple of goals in stoppage time. It has just been what Celtic, they've just...
It's what they do,
It's
Richard,
like they just keep probing, and then as soon as there's the slightest chink, that's it, and the floodgates open.
Well, that's it, and I'm sitting saying 34 minutes, 0-0, St Johnstone are doing great. You know, they're in the game, might get a set play. 10 minutes later, the tie's done and they're 4-0 down. And it's the damage that this is going to cause for the final 5 games, Richard. This could be really horrible. This could honestly go to double figures here.
Yeah.
And you don't want that.
I mean, the one thing I would say is that it's seldom that a game reaches 4 or 5-0 at half-time and you get more than maybe a goal or two. It does happen, but it's very rare.
But that manager down there, Brendan Rodgers, will be asking for that and to be demanding that as well. The Celtic fans, what is there, 40,000 of them here? They've paid good money to be entertained in both halves, not just one half. So he'll be demanding and he'll make changes, and they'll want to come on as well and do well, because they'll all want to be part of this game at the weekend at Tannadice where they win the league.
Yeah. I mean, it was 4-1 last week in the league against Kilmarnock at half-time, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's right. But you just, it's incredible. St Johnstone have switched off. You know, the first goal was brilliant, McGregor really good, but I think it's from a poor Douglas set play, by kick at the end, and he tries to clip it out instead of going long, letting Fisher go long. It's great play by Hatate, lovely back heel into McGregor's path, and it's a great finish. And then that was it. They're just off and running from there. The second one, lovely pass from McGregor again, but up the inside of the full-back Curtis, who goes with his right foot as well, instead of trying to go with his left, which would have given a bit more length if he had gone down on his left-hand side. The third one, Carey sleeps, Scales, so it's been 2 real defensive mistakes out of the 3 goals. Hatate runs off the back of Carey, great pass from Scales, and they're in for 3, and then Daizen Maeda just hits it. But I'm surprised that it's not been called for offside. Maybe Hatate was onside then. Maybe he was onside and not in front of them, but I just think it would be a strange one with him being right in front of the goalie and actually motioning out the way. He actually moves his body to get out the way for the shot to go in, but the referee and the VAR officials have given it, and it's just damage limitation.
I mean, assume they've determined he was actually onside.
That's what I'm thinking. He must have
done.
He must have been.
Wow. Alan was saying that some of the or maybe it was Liam in the commentary, but some of the St Johnstone fans beginning to leave. I mean, you can completely understand it. You come through here now. I can't imagine many came through here expecting to see their side reach the final, but more than half an hour into it, and the team are coping with the situation. You perhaps was the famous saying that it's the hope that kills you. I don't know if they were
leaving. Were they? I think they might have been going out just to get a wee break in the stands just before half time.
No, a lot of them have left at the same time for that wee break.
Let's see when they come back in. But yeah, you're down here to kind of almost support your team. Listen, they were never going. The favourites, absolute favourites, was Celtic in this game, and the way the game was going as the game was going on, if they got into half time 0-0 or even 1-0, that would have been a really, really good result for them, because Celtic were dominating the game totally, but to be 4-0 down is such a body blow to them. I go back to that first goal. I'm not sure, Alan. Listen, the way that they're set up in midfield, St Johnstone, they've got Holt picking up player, they've got Griffiths picking up a player, Carey's picking up normally what do you call him that goes into Greg Taylor at times when he goes in there. So then 3 are occupied, and then you've got Nicky Clark to deal with McGregor. Surely one of the centre halves got to recognise also that if he runs off Nicky Clark, and all that space is there, they've got to get out. You know, it's a 3v1 at the back. One of them's got to step out and just stop him having that opportunity to and then make him shift the ball somewhere else and then get back in again.
But are you not torn, Pat, by stepping out? You're leaving more gaps for Celtic.
You've got 2 other partners. You've got 2 other centre halves up against one. Just narrow it off.
If you watch the first goal, I think they get a little bit blasé, because St Johnstone have got Douglas, and I think it's Sprangler in the box, and Fisher, the keeper. Now, Fisher's been kicking them long. This time Douglas elects to take it. Celtic have 3 at the edge of the box, so instead of Fisher belting it into the Celtic half as he's been doing, Douglas tries to clip one into the midfield.
Right, was it Douglas? I thought it was Fisher.
Celtic are onto it straight away, and then obviously the goal happened. So they've changed from what they were doing for that moment, and it's cost them the opening goal, which is ultimately cost them the game, because their heads have gone down and they've lost goal after goal after goal since then. But I think they'll make changes at half-time. I think they have to. Do you now start taking players off for Saturday that you can ill afford to get injured? You know, do you start looking? I think he has to already start looking at the game on Saturday for St Johnstone against Motherwell, because this one's done.
Final, you
I know, but
you don't want to go out. Oh, they're 4-0 down, yeah.
I would
bring it 6-7-0 here.
I'd bring it Paisley on. He's not kicked the ball. I would bring him on or give him 45 minutes because they might need him. So I would give him game time. This game's done. It's all about now. What can we do now to prepare for Motherwell? Can we get people on the pitch to give them game time? Because this is finished. Let's look forward to Motherwell. Paisley's not kicked a ball for them this season since he's arrived. He needs minutes. Can we get him 20 minutes, half an hour? Possibly. But I think St Johnstone have to make changes with Saturday's game against Motherwell coming.
I fully appreciate, Alan, that is much more important for them, and in fact it probably always was much more important for them than this afternoon was likely to be. They do want to avoid losing 7, 8, 9 goals, which you could not rule out right now, because from a psychological point of view, that just deals you such a blow, doesn't it?
Well, that's it, Richard. But this Celtic team we've seen in the past, even under Ange Postecoglou, they've gone to Tannadice and scored a barrel load. They've done it to Hearts. They've done it to every club. Celtic will do that to you, But I think psychologically, St Johnstone have to switch off for this one. This one's done. It's finished. And I would, if I was the manager, I would be making changes at half time, taking 3 off, tipping 3 on to say, right, I'm going to take you. I need yous next Saturday. This game's finished. Let me just concentrate now. Yes, we'll see out this second 45, but let me try and get people off, because I'll need yous. And put this game to bed. It's going to be so difficult, because if this, as you rightly said, Richard, goes 7, 8, 9, whatever, it's going to be so hard psychologically for the game at the weekend. But he's going to have to try and switch them on if he can.
It is going to be a tough 45 minutes, you imagine, for St Johnstone. It will also be interesting, Pat, to see Brendan Rodgers' approach. Does he make a few changes at half-time? Does he ask for them to show the same intensity as they have done?
Oh, same intensity. He criticised them for the performance at St Johnstone up in Perth, and he doesn't want those standards to drop. He's got a couple of big games coming up. Obviously, Dundee United away to win the title, then they've got Rangers, so he wants every player, when they walk onto that pitch, to play at their top level. Now, he may make changes. I would think he would, probably, but he won't. I doubt if he'll make changes at half time. I think he'll make it with about half an hour to go, and look at what he's got on the bench to bring on, and they have to perform. Those guys, Jota, Kuhn, Trusty, if he comes, I don't think he'll change maybe Trusty, because Skills have been doing really well, involved in the goal. Schlupp, if he brings on those type of players, they have got to perform. Bernardo will be looking to get a wee chance to maybe get into the team, and so on. Very difficult for them at this stage of the season, but they have to perform if they come on. So we might use that last half hour depending how the game goes, but I don't think at the very start.
Be fascinating. The Celtic players are out there, certainly absolutely enjoying it, and you could see, like I mentioned, Alan, that there had been a few passes going astray, but the moment you have the confidence of having scored that first goal, every pass then seems to come off, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does, and that's the thing. And that opening goal, Richard, you've seen it. It was Hatate into Ida, and then it's knocked off to McGregor, and away they go, and they're away playing, and then they just probed. That's all they did. It was small passes, it was keeping St Johnstone moving, but that's so tiring for St Johnstone. They're not getting a kick of the ball, they're having to mark, they're having to make sure the lines in between players are right, and they lost it a couple of times, which cost them goals. But Celtic have been relentless, and they've been relentless, Richard. And I said this on Upnall Mike's the other week there. We don't have a 2-horse race in Scotland, we have a 1-horse race. Yeah. It's phenomenal which this football club have done in the last 14, 15, whatever, how many years. It's incredible, and there's no stopping them. We need a challenge. We need Hearts, Rangers, Aberdeen, Hibs, all of them to step up and try and challenge them, because it's getting wider. The gap is actually getting wider between Celtic and the rest, I'm afraid, because this season we've had Hearts' worst start, Hibs' worst start, then a brilliant run from Hibs, Aberdeen, brilliant start, horrendous run for Aberdeen. Everyone else, the only consistent ones have been Dundee United and Celtic, really. They've been in the top 6 virtually from day one.
Yeah.
But the rest need to step up. They really do, because Celtic, the gap's getting bigger.
We spoke about Brendan Rodgers, what he expects from his team and what he brings to the game and so on. You can see it out there. They just move the ball at ease, 1-2 touch passing. But the other part of the game, that counter pressing when they lose the ball, and you can see that also. And if they're off it, that's the bit that goes first. You know, they don't have. We're not mentally tuned in to winning the ball back. But now you can see it out there. Every time that St Johnstone had a wee chance to maybe counter-attack, they were on them, 2-3 players, and that adds hugely to Celtic with the ability they have throughout the team. And if they're doing that well, no team, I think, can live with them from that perspective.
It's so difficult as well, Richard, every single week to keep doing it time and time again, but they seem to do it. They have an off day, as they did a couple of weeks ago at McDermott Park, but 99 times out of 100 they're on it in domestic football.
Yeah, look, I see some frantic activity amongst our commentators. Al Lambert, who's doing the TV highlights, and of course Liam, who's doing the radio live with us here on Sportsound. I think the indication is that St Johnstone are making sweeping changes for the second half, which comes as absolutely no surprise. It will be intriguing to see who he brings on and how he approaches the second half. Simo Valakari, he will know, like the rest of us, that this tie is done and dusted. It is all over. Celtic are heading through to the Scottish Cup final on Saturday, May the 24th, when they will take on Aberdeen. That is for sure, and it's something, of course, that will get, as we get close to rounding off the domestic season. Traditionally now, of course, it all finishes with the Premiership playoff final second leg, which this season will be on the Monday night following that cup final. But the players heading back out, those changes being made by St Johnstone. Full live second half commentary, Sportsound on BBC Radio Scotland, with Alan Preston, Pat Bonner and Liam McLeod.
Yeah, Clark, Sidibe and Douglas are coming off by the looks of things, replaced by Kampioka, Kirk, Taylor, Stephen. So those are the St Johnstone alterations, and I think the three that are coming on could be done without it. And St Johnstone could be done without this second half.
As one of them go on and try and make a difference. They're 4-0 down against the champions.
Yeah.
I expected that, Liam. I really did. I expected them, and I still think Ikpeazu will get 20 minutes.
Yeah, Celtic at the second half underway. Will it be as relentless as it was in that first half from the holders? 4-0 up and cruising through to the final. As Scales plays it short to the left there to Hatate, then back to Sinisalo. Celtic same as you would expect. St Johnstone now with Fisher in goal, Melodies and Sprangler. Just waiting to see how they're going to actually shape up there. Taylor Stephen may well be playing over on the left. Gone to a 4. Go through in a moment with the guys as Saints come forward down the right. Mackenzie Kirk, one of the changes there. Kampioka waiting in the middle. That's headed away by Carter Vickers, and then clearance completed by Adam Ida. They go to a back 4 then?
Yeah, I think they have had. Taylor Stevens coming on at left back.
Who's a striker by trade.
Yeah, but they've been really hamstrung with real injuries to key players. As I said earlier, Dre Wright has played 9 different positions for them this season. You know, and then it's just been a shame for them. But what the manager's got to tell them is next week's more important. We don't come up against Celtic every week. We've got Motherwell, and all due respect to them, they're not on the same level as Celtic. So this one is put to bed, give them tomorrow off, and then let them get on with it from Tuesday onwards.
Yeah, I think they've gone to a 4-4-2, which is interesting again when we talked how important midfield, matching up on midfield is, and Celtic have got, you know, those 3, if not at times 4 players in there.
Celtic have it here with Engels out to Forrest on the right hand side. Engels continues his run in the underlap. He's found Johnstone instead. Johnstone couldn't find the Belgian, he was offside anyway. St Johnstone have a free kick just to the left of their penalty spot, penalty box rather, level with the penalty spot. And there will be a free kick to be taken here by Fisher. And of course Celtic beat Aberdeen 6-0 here in the League Cup semis. Maida's got a couple today. He scored a hat-trick that day. In fact, he's got all 3 of Celtic's last 3 hat-tricks scored by Maida, including against Wraith Rovers in this competition. Ida wins the header, heads it back towards Hatate, but carries on to it, but not for long. Dies in Maida, pilfers it back for Celtic over on that left-hand side, where it's rolled back to Scales. Scales with a low ball to the left touchline for Maida, looking for Taylor ahead of him. It's going to break back St Johnstone's way though, over on the far side as they try and get rid of it through Sprangler, but it's given straight to McGregor. Left of the centre circle, Maida's on his bike. McGregor decides against that pass though and plays the easier option to Taylor, who now does find Maida. Back to McGregor and infield to Scales. Scales short ball to Hatate. Will then shift it out wide right for Forrest. Forrest having a go here. Low ball in, and Ida's close to making it 5. 3 minutes into the second half, he doesn't get anything on it. It goes out to the corner flag on the far side. And that will be kept in play by Celtic down the left with Taylor, but he's got no way through this time. And it's just nicked away up the right by Curtis. Now picked up by Holt, who goes to ground and wins the free kick for St Johnstone over on the far side.
I think that's a sitter from Adam Ida. I think he kicks the ground. I think he stubs his foot in the ground.
It's good play by Forrest down the right, isn't it? Low ball in. I mean, it's perfect for the striker.
You're bang on, Alan. He does it. Just all he's got to do is make contact with the ball in the back of the net. But it was again good play from Forrest, beating his man, getting that ball across the almost 4 or 5 yards out. Goalkeeper no chance of it. Adam Ida has made contact with that ball to make it 5.
Stephen forward for St Johnstone. Kapioka couldn't control, and now it's with Engels, and now it's with McGregor in the centre circle, clipping it out towards Forrest. Forrest's first time ball in field is headed half away by Sprangler. St Johnstone haven't managed to complete the clearance. A long one all the way through to Sinisalo, who'll let it come back into his box. He picks up. Celtic 4-0 up, approaching 50 minutes. This is going to be a heck of a long second half for Saints, this.
Yeah, it really is. Also from Celtic's perspective, will they keep the ball moving sharp, or just, you know, they're 4-0 up, they don't have to do too much to win the game, but you would like to, you know, from Brendan Rodgers' performance, he will be underlining that they have to keep that ball flowing quickly and working St Johnstone.
Yeah, he's still demanding more down there.
Well, you would think that Maeda would want a hat-trick. You think Forrest hasn't played a lot, he'd want to play the full game. Ida, a chance for him to get goals. You know, so these are the guys that this game is for, really.
James Forrest down the right, trying to torment Stephen, gets the cross in with the right foot. Maida was arriving at the back post, and it's headed behind. There for the corner to Celtic by Curtis. And it's taken really quickly by Taylor. Back to Engels at the left angle of the box. Low ball back to McGregor, who squares it to Johnston. Johnston out to Forrest, the right angle of the Saints box. Along the 18-yard line for Hatate, he couldn't control, and Holt gets in there and wins the free kick for St Johnstone. We'll just be trying to get out of here at 4-0 even.
Yeah, that's twice now. Forrest picks the ball up and he goes and he attacks the full back. You know that he can come on the inside, but he goes to the byline and gets a cross in. The first one was a low cross, that one was a nice clip ball to the back post. And that's what you're looking from a winger, to be unpredictable.
Brendan Rodgers has played just over 41 and a half domestic cup ties as Celtic manager. He's won 40 of them. Just that solitary defeat at Kilmarnock in the League Cup last term. The cross ball for St Johnstone comes in, and Sinisalo pulls off an excellent save. Flags up against Kirk, but the flag's up anyway. It will stay at 4-0, and even if it had hit the net, they would have stayed at 4-0.
What a save it was,
Celtic 4.
That's an unbelievable save. Ball played in quickly, and Kirk just got himself in front and just offside from Scales, but the goalkeeper didn't know that. It was a brilliant save.
Magnificent. Good play by Kirk as well. Lovely flick.
Comes Celtic with McGregor to the attacking third, and the overlapping Forrest level with the 18-yard line infield to Engels. It's been blocked and breaks back to Stephen. He's trying to dig it out, does so. Pioka chasing. Carter Vickers looked like he was holding him off there, and referee Scott was happy with the challenge. McGregor, under pressure from Pioka, rolls it to his right for Engels, back to Hatate and into the centre circle for Scales. Scales out to Maida on that left flank. Attack Curtis, Carey out there as well. Maida rolls it back to Liam Scales. And then McGregor forward to Ida. For McGregor again. A couple of St Johnstone players get in the way, and they've got another free kick as well. I'm talking about Brendan Rodgers' domestic cup record as Celtic manager, and those 41 cup ties, including today, 41 and a half cup ties, they've scored 135 goals. to the concession of just 24.
It's amazing, isn't it? You know, Cup's notoriously difficult to rack up big scores, unless maybe at the beginning of the tournament you might come up against somebody a little bit weaker. But when you get into this stage of the competition, normally it's you don't win them by 4, 5, 6 goals.
But you're looking at one of the cup ties there when you're talking about this Falkirk. Falkirk was brilliant cup tie, had a go at them and
got ahead twice, weren't they?
And this is what they're doing to a Premiership side. But Falkirk will be that maybe next year.
There's Kirk for St Johnstone, the edge of the box, and a wonderful goal. It's an outstanding goal from Mackenzie Kirk, who smashes it home from almost 25 yards out with a right foot into the top left corner. And finally the Saints fans have something to cheer at Hampden, where it's now St Johnstone 1, Celtic 4. That's brilliant. The pick of the bunch today.
That's the best goal, you're right. Ida loses it, he's wanting a free kick. Holt plays it into Kirk, he takes one touch, another one set up, and then it's a right foot shot across the keeper, giving him absolutely no chance. That flew right in the top corner. What a goal. Two keepers wouldn't have saved that.
No, it's a brilliant.
They're asking for, Celtic want a foul.
They do, they want that ball. The ball's played in initially into Aramida, and he's looking for the foul. They're going to check it, of course, but that takes nothing away from Kirk when he picks the ball up. He hits that ball brilliantly. The goalkeeper had nothing there to the top right-hand corner, but it's going to be checked. There's a delay here for VAR.
Yeah, it's Ida. It's a challenge.
Yeah.
He goes through, he tries to control it with the outside of his foot. Nah, not a chance. No for me, that.
Yeah, guys able to see a replay of it. Well, there's going to be a review here, an on-field review, so the ref's coming to the monitor.
Wow.
And St Johnstone, well, when your luck's out, it's out. And this, you would imagine now,
I guess Balodas, is it?
Be ruled out. And I think, by all accounts, what they're not happy with is the fact there were two hands on the back of Adam Ida. So you would imagine this is going to get ruled out. Celtic will remain 4-0 up here.
I can see that. I can see that two hands are up, and he's kind of almost pushed him as he's trying to control the ball.
I think it's harsh.
It's harsh, but it's tough on the lad who scored a magnificent strike.
And it's consistency, because there was one early on in the season. Was it Rangers against Hearts? Wilson got pushed.
Here we go.
Free kick.
Yeah, no goal. Free kick to Celtic. And it stays St Johnstone 0, Celtic 4. No goal.
That's what I'm saying about consistency. Wilson got pushed in the box at Tynecastle against Rangers. Rangers went up the park and scored. It should have been a penalty to Hearts. Wasn't given. Two-handed push in the back. This one's given. Consistency. That's the problem in our game.
So Celtic and Sinisalo's clean sheet is intact at the moment. And it is Liam Scales for Celtic. Forward to Ida. Is it off to Hitati, to Ida at the edge of the box. He shoots just wide, whistles past that left-hand post with a low effort from the Irishman. 56 played, Saints 0, Celtic 4. It's a decent hit, that one.
Yeah, decent hit. Listen, it was. He used his body strength this time again, side on this time. You know, as the ball's played him, he's stationary, so you can't knock him off the ball, and then he links up. I think it might have been with Hitati. And then he gets it back, and he tries his luck, but he just didn't quite make that connect.
Maybe a St Johnstone free kick just inside the Celtic half over on the right hand side. Right to centre. Graham Carey's over it. And they're just trying to stymie Celtic at the moment, St Johnstone, and to an extent they've managed to do that since half-time. There's still been a couple of opportunities though. And here comes Saints looking for one themselves. Carey with the free kick, lifted to the edge of the box. Kirk along the line. It was an offside flag. And it'll stay 4-0 to the holders.
Yeah, I think Sinisalo will be happy that goal didn't go either. You in the semi-final, you're 1-4-0. You want, his job is to keep a clean sheet and make sure his defenders are switched on all the time. You end up losing a goal or losing another goal then with slackness or whatever, then it becomes a day that you don't particularly like. I never liked it anyway when I was a goalkeeper. Even though they were winning, you wanted to have that shutout.
Here's Duke McKenna after McGregor lost it, and it's been won back double quick time, and Celtic have got a free kick for a foul in Engels just outside the centre circle.
I think Duke McKenna was fouled by Forrest in the first place.
Yeah, I agree with you there, Alan. I think again the referee let it go, and he could have easily pulled it up. I think the one to give is definitely a foul, but I think before that there was maybe a foul on Duke McKenna.
The referee's got to realise that St Johnstone is waving play on for St Johnstone. He would rather have the free kick. You know, yes, it's at the halfway line, but they just want to slow the game down.
Tate for Celtic, back to Scales, to McGregor, back to Scales again, in the Saints half, over on the left-hand side. It's opened up a bit for Liam Scales here. He rolls it to his left for Maida, who's level with the penalty spot. And then back to Taylor, forward to Hatate, and then out to Taylor again on the Celtic left. Hatate then dinks it into the midfield for Carter Vickers. Controls in the chest, and it's a low ball from He out to Forrest on this near side. Forrest jinking infield, passing it with the right foot back to Carter Vickers, infield to Scales. Back out to the right of centre side for McGregor, to the right of the box for Engels. His cross takes a deflection of a Saints boot, brings back Callum McGregor's way, under pressure from Kimpioka.
The thing about Celtic, all their players are comfortable. Everyone is comfortable, stepping into different positions. Even the centre halves going into midfield, they're capable.
Forrest, Ida, of course, scored the winning goal in last season's final against Rangers late on. It is with Johnstone. Johnstone changing gears, slipping it through to Hatate. Back it comes to Engels, side foot ball to McGregor. Celtic trying to get back into their stride here. Taylor over on the left gets it from Scales. Now Maida to Greg Taylor, to Scales, to Carter Vickers. He's trying to pick a way through here. Scales rolls it with the left, out to Maida, level with the St Johnstone penalty spot. Pokes it back to McGregor. And then leave it for Scales. Now Carter Vickers again. Out to Forrest. It's not a great touch by Forrest, but he gets back onto it anyway. Turns away from Kimpioka towards goal, driving through all the way himself here. Goes down. Roar for a penalty. And he's given it.
The referee doesn't see this. I don't think the referee sees it for the bodies in front of him. And it takes him so long to make a decision here.
Yeah, I think somebody's called that other than the referee. It didn't look. He may have got clipped, but it was a decent run.
Brilliant run. It's a magnificent run.
And into the box, but it's almost like as if he's...
That's that. We're given penalties for that. He runs across him. That's not a penalty for me. I don't think the referee sees it. I really don't. I think he's guessed here. I think he's guessed.
Yeah, I think he's just almost brushed up against the player. I couldn't see it myself. He's obviously waiting. Can this be called barking?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, I think he's had a...
Checking it. They are checking it right now. There is an official
My first
check
inclination was that somebody else called that because he was delayed.
It took ages to give it. Now I get that they say take your time, get the decision right, but for where he is, I'm not sure he even sees it. There's that many bodies in front of him.
Yeah. Well, the check is ongoing just now. They've announced it on the huge scoreboards at either end of Hampden. Callum Scott's got his left hand up to his ear.
I don't think this will be given. If I was, it shouldn't be. I think from what we've witnessed, it was a good run. He's just kind of almost ran across him slightly.
It's Balodis, who was the defender that he cut across. Right, it's an on-field review coming again here, so Callum Scott's been asked to come and have a look at it.
Callum Scott, I'm telling you now, has guessed. He has guessed, and the crowd's got to him, and he's given the penalty kick. We're sitting, Liam, what are we, 150 yards from that? It's not a penalty. He's guessed, because you're watching him. He's not seen it.
It's 4-0 to Celtic here. We're beyond the hour. In fact, we're almost on 62. A second on-field review for Callum Scott in the last 10 minutes.
It's not a penalty.
And they're saying there's not enough contact.
No, this will be called out. This is... I don't even think it would be a foul outfield in the way that he sort of almost brushed up against him and went down.
Balodis' arm is across Forrest's face. That's the only thing you would say there, but there's clearly not enough in it for the VAR's liking. Yeah. Here comes Callum Scott now. It's going to be a drop ball, so there will be no penalty to Celtic, and it will be a drop ball. So the referee. Well, he didn't spot the foul in the build-up to St Johnstone's goal. He was asked to come and have a look at it. It was ruled out. Same for that penalty that he gave Celtic. No penalty, and it stays Saints 0, Celtic 4. It'll be an uncontested drop ball for St Johnstone.
Yeah, I was going to say there was an initial contact when he ran into the box, but he didn't go down, James Forrest, and that was probably, if he had to go down at that point in time, it might have been a better call for a penalty. Triple
change for Celtic. They are bringing on, I'm afraid, St Johnstone fans, McCowan, Kuhn and Jota, who's himself scored in the Scottish Cup final as Jota. He replaces Ida. That was Forrest's last act. He'll be replaced by Nicolas Kuhn as Forrest takes another step closer to taking his Celtic winners medal tally to 27 by the end of the campaign. Bobby Lennox currently the best alongside Forrest at 25. Engels off, McCowan on as well. I mean, those are three terrific players to be bringing off your bench.
But first and foremost, I've got to say what a player Forrest has been for Celtic over that period. Become the most decorated Celtic player of all time at this football club. That is some accolade to have. Incredible. He's been brilliant.
And also, Alan, when you think about it, most modern players now move around clubs. You know, they move around, they don't stay. You've got to stay at a club to get the honours, and comes your way, but to stay with one club all your career is really, really outstanding.
His debut, the 1st of May 2010, almost exactly 15 years ago. It doesn't feel like that long ago, but there you go. He's gone on to amass medal after medal, and it could have been more because he's been out injured. He hasn't been able to play in some of the finals.
Unreal.
Callum McGregor just 2 behind him. He made his debut 4 years after James Forrest at Celtic, so that shows you the spells that Forrest's had out of the team. That's an obvious handball by Pioka. As deliberate as it gets, really. No yellow, just a free kick to Celtic deep inside their own half. They're 4-0 up on 65. They are huge favourites, no matter who they were facing in the final. Rangers have given them a game the last 3 times they've played them, I guess, but the odd day off against the likes of Hibs and Saints a couple of weeks ago, but there's a relentless machine.
Yeah, I just wonder, those players who have come on, obviously Jota and Kuhn as a main example, you know, will they give the manager a bit of a decision to be made now, put him back in the team?
Kuhn gets a chance to impress immediately as he dances into the box, right hand side of it, pulls the low ball back, and it's cleared by Holt. There's Hitati though picking up the scraps. McCowan at the edge of the box with the side foot shot, which doesn't get too much on, and Fisher holds on to it. It remains 4-0 to Celtic. Remember, Aberdeen yesterday sealed their place in next month's final. And as we know, the last time they faced Celtic here, it was a chastening experience, albeit it did take them to penalties at this stage last season. That's what they'll have to look at, albeit those were in the Miovski days for Aberdeen. St Johnstone give it away. It's Jota turning it back into the midfield for Kuhn. It goes back to Johnston, and Johnston finds McGregor in the centre circle. Forward to McCowan, back to Scales. Scales then driving forward. He's got Jota trying to get onto this. He will get onto it. He hangs it back looking for Maida, headed away by Griffith. Carey's under pressure but dumps it away under pressure from Taylor. Goes over the head of Kirk, breaks to Carter Vickers, and now it's with Johnston. Low ball out to Kuhn on this near side. Johnston continues his run. Just with Alistair Johnston. It's a good ball, and Jota meets it in the back post to turn it home. And Celtic's 5th goal arrives with the semi-final going into its last quarter. He's only been on for about a minute, but Jota adds his name to the score sheet as Celtic turn on the style yet again on Glasgow's south side. It is St Johnstone 0, Celtic 5.
Well, that partnership down the right-hand side between Kuhn and Johnson came to the fore in this one. Lovely little ball, dink to the back post, and Jota, like all good wingers, getting himself into the right area round the back of the fullback. I thought maybe the fullback could have done better just to go and attack the ball, but he can almost let it drop down. And there was Jota getting on the end of it, slide it past the goalkeeper.
Sam Curtis was having a bad day. It was up the inside of him previously when Jota got to the byline for McCowan's effort, and then that time he's sleeping at the back post. Jota gets up the inside of him and knocks it into the back of the net. Needs to do better, has to do better. Really poor defensive play.
Off comes Graham Carey. He was in the Celtic side under Tony Mowbray all those years ago, the likes of Paul McGowan and Niall McGinn. He is replaced by Josh McPake, who's at Rangers, though most of his time there was spent on loan. As a forward, he comes on to replace Carey after Carey's heroics in the quarter-finals. You knew when the draw was made that whoever got Celtic was going to have to be drinking from the poisoned chalice. It was as simple as that. This was the tie you didn't want, and it is what St Johnstone got. But to win this cup, you're going to probably, let's face it, doesn't matter what the season is these days, you're going to have to beat Celtic to win it.
Yeah, you have. You've got to hope that they have an off day and you perform to the best of your ability. And what we see, that this team doesn't seem to be scared of Hampden at all. That conversation we had and that sort of remarks from Brendan Rodgers would surprise me.
There was a period, wasn't there? Probably under Neil Lennon, most notably.
Such a long time ago.
But you think, the defeat to Ross County in 2010, they lost to County again in the League Cup, lost to Cali Thistle in the Scottish Cup. Yeah, but that's why, Pack, it's what I'm saying. Before Brendan Rodgers was here, Ronnie Dyla lost to Rangers on penalties. The celebrations from Rangers convinced the Celtic board to put the boat out to bring Rodgers to the club, and since then they've been practically indomitable.
He's done a remarkable job with him, and it's just a way that he wants him to play the game, that's for sure. And all the players fit into it, and he moved the ball, and the movement off the ball, just very, very difficult. And I can tell you, I've played against some great teams in my time in European competitions, and they run you ragged by the quality of the players and the ability on the ball and the movement off the ball. And when you're up against, and Celtic are probably in terms of that here in Scotland, that type of team. And you just can't live with it.
Hatate replaced by Bernardo. Alan Preston.
Hatate is another one. I'm honest, I might speak to Brendan Rodgers about him. He thinks he's got the ability to go and play in the very top level of England. If they want any top team in Europe, he can go and play. It's consistency. When it gets too easy for him, that's sometimes when he switches off, but he's a phenomenal player, and you can see that. He's a brilliant football player, Hatate, and a real good find for Celtic.
Yeah, he's 27 now, so if he's wanting to move to that kind of league, then you would think it would have to happen pretty soon. St Johnstone the ball, and that's turned all the way back to Fisher at the edge of his box. We're in the final 20 of the 90 with Celtic leading 5-0.
But there'll still be an appetite from them for the likes of McCowan, who's not won anything in his career really, any domestic trophies, at any level. And then you've got Scales as well, who's at Aberdeen, coming into Celtic. He'll want to perform and do well. Engels, his first year at Celtic, wanting the treble. So there's still a demand on these players. Yes, there's a lot of them. I mentioned Forrest, all the trophies he's got. But the ones that are new to the club,
they want to rack them up, won't they?
They do, of course.
They'll want to rack them up while they can. The thing is, this has been a golden era for Celtic, really since sort of 2012 time, 2012, 2013. It's been a golden era. They've won so much silverware over that time. The thing is, you look at the golden generations that Celtic, or the golden ages that Celtic have had, and the 9-in-a-row team under Johnstone that won the European Cup, first British side to do so. Then this period of dominance. The thing about this period of dominance is you just don't see it ever ending right now. And that's the thing.
That's a scary thing for the rest of Scottish football, and it's not great. Listen, the Celtic fans are loving it. They're absolutely loving it. But if you're one of the other teams in the Premier League, it can be demoralising at times. It can absolutely be horrendous, because you're only going to get one winner in the league. You might beat them in a cup and a one-off, but even that's becoming very, very difficult.
Yeah, and that solitary cup defeat came at Rugby Park, where Celtic have had issues. And
most teams
lost twice there last season. Yeah, well, Kelly's home record's good. Anyway, St Johnstone have a free kick midway inside their own half here. I was going to say they've managed to kind of stop the rapid bleeding, but Celtic waited till later on in the first half before the goal glut, then when they scored 4 before the interval. And you suspect they'll get further chances as St Johnstone clear it. Celtic pick up the scraps in the midfield, and it's McGregor to Jota. Jota in full flight down the far side, low ball into the box. The touch from McCowan took it towards Balodis, and he's able to get it half away, but Celtic get it back. Jota scored their clincher against Cali Thistle before his move. What was Postecoglou's last game in charge of the club? 23. Here's McCowan. Rolls it out to Kuhn on this near side. Skips infield with the left foot, dinks it in, looking for Maida, but it comes all the way through to Fisher, who holds on. Saints 0, Celtic 5.
Yeah, we didn't expect it after half an hour, that's for sure.
No.
And now there was a good game at that point in time, because you had a team defending very well, and Celtic trying to break them down, but as soon as that first goal went in, you just could see maybe the confidence draining out of St Johnstone also, and then the second one just kills him.
Great touch by McCowan there. Took the ball out of the sky with his left foot there. Great control. There he's found Jota, he finds Taylor. It's an early ball looking for Maida. Maida's onto it. Right hand side of the penalty spot, and he lashes it over the bar. He's on a hat-trick, Daisen Maida. He's desperate for it. He's already got one here at Hampden this season. He scored in the League Cup semis for his third of the campaign. Uche Ikpeazu is going to be on Alan Preston. This has been a long time coming.
Yeah, 15 minutes he'll get, or 16 minutes almost. And it's been...
It's his debut.
Yeah, it's his debut. He came... He said he fell downstairs in his house and hurt his knee.
He was signed in the summer.
Yeah.
Big number 9, former Hearts striker. Brought to the club by Craig Levine.
Played out in Turkey as well.
Yeah.
So he's been...
Fell in the house and hurt his knee.
Fell down the stairs in his house, yeah. Twisted his knee.
Duke McKenna's going to come off. The St Johnstone number 9 gets his first action in the Saints blue. Finally, he gets a little cheer from the St Johnstone supporters who've been waiting to see him.
Yeah, another striker they've got at the club.
Yeah, they've got plenty of those.
He is a unit. He is a big lad.
15 of the 90 left. Celtic 5-0 up. Long ball up towards Ikpeazu. Carter Vickers wins the headers. The first duel goes the way of the Celtic defender. Taylor finds McGregor. Centre point of the pitch finds McCowan to the right of the centre circle. Out to the right touchline here for Kuhn. And sliding in Stephen to put it out for a Celtic throw-in, which Johnstone takes quickly to Luke McCowan, right hand side of the box. Rolls it back up the line. He was looking for Johnstone. He's behind him, but McGregor's there anyway. Now it's with Scales. Scales to Bernardo. He slips it to the right for Johnstone. To the legs of Stephen. He finds Kuhn. The right angle of the box. From his left peg here. He's gone for goal. He's way off target. And it stays St Johnstone 0, Celtic 5.
It's incredible, the fall from grace from Nicholas Kuhn. It was player of the year in the opening half of the season. It was brilliant. He's just gone completely off the boil.
You kind of wonder why. You know what I mean? Is it something off the pitch? Is it his mentality? Has somebody tapped him up to think that he's going to get a move so don't get injured? And that's the question I would have always about these type of players. I know they're creative players and they're good players, and creativity, Alan, is probably the hardest part of all. Us defenders, all we had to do is to stop people playing.
Ralston for Johnstone, by the way, for Celtic.
But it was absolutely unplayable, Pat, in that opening 3-4 months of the season.
Yeah.
The goals he was scoring, remember the goal he scored at McDermott Park, actually, from it. I think it was a St Johnstone corner, and he's lashed it in the corner. It was
scored
brilliant.
Some great goals, yeah. One in Dingwall as well, and the one here against Aberdeen. That League Cup semi. Long ball forward by Fisher, who was unable to do anything about the Celtic goals. Ikpeazu, who's adjudged to have committed the foul in Carter Vickers, and Celtic have it with Ralston, who I think hasn't started today, but I think he started more games at Hampden this season than he has at Celtic Park. He played for Scotland, his first choice right back in the Nations League. Out to Jota on the far side. It's now with Taylor. Shuffles in field and finds Bernardo, who finds McGregor. Ball to Taylor. It's a heavy touch, and that allows St Johnstone to clear. It's with Kimpioka over on the right side. Wonderful play by Benjamin Kimpioka. He's bamboozled 2 or 3 Celtic players there. turns and passes it back to Griffith, who clips it out with the right foot to this left-hand side. Try and bring McPake into the game. It's off Ralston, now for a St Johnstone throwing up the pitch here.
So as I said to Richard at the start of the programme, they just throw strikers on. They've got 4 now on. 4 new ones that didn't start the game.
As you rightly point out, they've not got too many options in the other areas of the pitch. Taylor Stephen controls in the chest, just knocks it forward there, trying to get McPake involved, but he's unable to do anything with it. Celtic have it with McCowan. Infield from Maida. It's back onto it himself there. Then Kampioka wins it back for St Johnstone, who are driving forward here with Stephen to the edge of the Celtic box. He's tripped by McCowan, and St Johnstone have a free kick. And McCowan's launched a verbal volley.
It's a yellow card,
St Johnstone
surely.
player.
Can't do that.
Ref's just having a word by the looks of it. It will be a St Johnstone free kick.
He's got to book him.
Oh, he has, yeah.
He had
has.
to.
Yellow's out for McCowan. Shakes his head, doesn't think this was a foul.
Yeah, good position here for St Johnstone. It's just off centre to the left slightly, far enough up to get it down, up and down. Test for maybe Sinsalo. He hasn't had much to do in the game, has he? He had an unbelievable save that was offside from.
Yeah, it
from
won't count
Kirk.
though, will it, Packy? That's the thing.
No, it won't.
Although you saw it, Celtic legendary goalkeeper. You were here to witness it.
Yes.
Will be a free kick for Benjamin Kampioka on the right foot. As he tries to get St Johnstone on the scoreboard. Ref just pushing the ball back here. Kampioka waits. We're not far off the final 10 minutes of the 90. And again, St Johnstone can't end quickly enough. Kampioka hits it straight into the wall. And it's lashed high over the bar by Jason Holt, who's not a regular goal scorer by any stretch of the imagination. And it will be a goal kick to Celtic, and it is 5-0 to Celtic.
I think I would expect him to get at least up and over the wall. You know, you hit it low. Actually, you probably hit people on the knees where that ball came from. You're not getting to get it through the wall. You have time to get it up and down.
Fell by Kuhn. There's the near side on Taylor Stephen. Free kick to St Johnstone. Celtic fans not happy with that. Will they be happy with the scoreline? There's Kuhn chasing and fouling. It is, as I said earlier, it's a quieter week, but the next weekend, all the Premiership matches taking place on Saturday next weekend. Celtic will get the chance to officially win the title when they go to Tannadice, needing just one more point to absolutely confirm it. I think it's effectively done.
The game of the day, as your team lay at Pataudry, that's the game of the day.
Dundee United, though.
That is, by the way, Aberdeen Hibs is a massive game next week. Huge.
But
in fact, it's probably it'd be the match of the weekend, match of the day.
Sorry, I was just going to say, Dundee United, though, have something to play for against Celtic.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? That's the point. It's not a case you can go out and let Celtic run over the top of them to get a result. Then they're chasing for that third spot, aren't they?
They are, yes.
Oh yeah, very much in the mix for it.
3 behind Hibs.
Hibs beat Aberdeen, would just about finish it, you would think, in Aberdeen's case. Here comes Jota for Celtic down the left. Bernardo's unable to get onto it. Johnston trying to deal with it. Curtis is fouled inside his own box. 9 to play, 5-0 Celtic.
It's amazing what Mahida does too, isn't it? You know, his reaction, even, you know, I know he's on a hat-trick coming up if he can get it, but it's just his work ability off the too is quite incredible.
It doesn't matter if he's on a hat-trick or no goals, it's the same from him. He's 100 miles an hour, he's relentless, his energy levels are incredible. And that's him now. Obviously, we either going off, he's switched positions to centre forward. It's different for him, but he's making the same kind of runs over the top, coming short, spinning over. If he can, linking up, he'll be desperate to get his hat-trick.
Yeah, I haven't never had the opportunity to go up and watch him in training and do all that, but I would assume in training he's exactly the same.
Carter Vickers for Celtic to Bernardo, and then back to the defender. Out to Ralston. Just about it nicked off him there by McPake. And actually, Saints have managed to get onto it with Kampioka over on the far side. Maida for company. Kimpioka, it's good play again by Kimpioka. He's got some good footwork, isn't he, this week?
He has, and you know what, there was a spell where he was out the team and wasn't flavour of the month, wanted away, and you just wonder how much that harmed the club as well, because you can see his ability. I don't think he's the most natural finisher, but he's certainly got really good ability on the ball.
11 goals this season for Kimpioka, albeit 5 of them came way back at the start of the campaign in the League Cup groups. The scales for Celtic. No ball in for McCowan, now with Bernardo. Pass forwards blocked by his own man, Maida. So St Johnstone onto it. And it is now with Griffith in the midfield. No ball to his right for Holt. Over to the far side touchline, Curtis swings the ball in. Scales is beaten to it, but Sinisalo's onto it, but he was beaten to it because he was fouled, says the ref. Celtic are away quickly here. Jota is driving forward down the left. If McCowan can find him,
surely. Offside.
He couldn't quite control it. He goes out for a throw-in. Anyway, no flag. It will be a St Johnstone throw-in deep inside their own half. It will be taken by Curtis. Allen.
They'll be desperate just to blow the final whistle here, St Johnstone. Just over 5 minutes to go. They'll be hoping that this is as bad as it gets.
Who would you give man of the match to, Alan?
I would probably give it to the man on the ball, Callum McGregor.
Yeah, I think so.
I think he's been the driving force again, scored the goal, set up another one. He's been magnificent again. Daiza Maeda, 2 goals, very good. But for me, Callum McGregor's been the best player.
He's dictated the game, hasn't he? And
yeah.
when he needed him, he kind of stepped up into that kind of almost position. You could see his driving force. We think about him as a holding midfield player, but he sees spaces all over the pitch.
Yeah, here's Jota, left-hand side of the St Johnstone box. Finds Bernardo, looking for Kuhn, doesn't find him, but will find Ralston. Scored late on against Kilmarnock last Saturday. It is Kuhn picking up at the right angle of the box. Now it's McCowan, he's away from a couple of defenders, looks to pull it back, blocked by Holt, but it will be a Celtic corner. This is Celtic's 50th game of the season. They've scored 3 or more in 28 of them, including today, where they lead 5-0 going in towards the last 5 minutes. It's as rampant a season as you can get, really. Consider that. They've scored 2 or more in 39 out of the 51. Jota rolling it back to Carter Vickers, squaring it to McGregor, who finds Ralston on the near side, and he gets it back to Carter Vickers inside his own half.
Yeah, it's really difficult for those St Johnstone players. They've been so much into the game also, and they're 5-0 down, and now at this stage of the game they're just chasing shadows really, and trying to work. It's so demanding on them.
It was that 10-minute period after 35 minutes to 45 minutes has really done all the damage. Celtic relentless, and they've taken their foot off the gas a little bit, Celtic, in the second half.
Taylor on the left, moves it in field to McGregor. McGregor slipping it to Jota, left-hand side of the box, back onto his right side, dinks it towards the back post, no takers. Callum McGregor has his arms outstretched as he made his way to the penalty spot, looking for the pullback. That didn't come, and it stays Saints 0, Celtic 5.
They were queuing up, weren't they? He had about 3 or 4 options. A good play initially, good run, good sliding pass for him. Checks back, and then he just stood on the ball and said, well, what am I going to do here? And he's going to probably done the wrong option. But he had 3 or 4 players just desperate for him to lay it into their path.
You just wonder what Celtic's best 11 is, Pat.
I know, absolutely. That's about the manager then having to make those big decisions, and players maybe a little bit sort of annoyed that they're not in the team. But I think if you're not performing, that's what happened against St Johnstone, then he's able to make the changes because he's got enough players to pick.
Yeah, there's a few givens, obviously, like Maeda, McGregor, Carter Vickers,
of course,
guys like that. Hatate as well for me.
Here comes Celtic again. Ralston to Kuhn, skipping in field in the attacking third. Finds Jota, central area, out to the left for Taylor. Jota wants it back, gets it back onto his right side. Shows too much of it there. St Johnstone trying to defend these latter stages without the damage getting worse. Taylor Stephen gets it away. Scales finds Bernardo, now McGregor. Maida wants it ahead of him. McGregor dancing into the box as he loves to do. Now facing away from goal, passes it out to Taylor on the left, infield to Bernardo. Then Scales for Carter Vickers. Out to Nicholas Kuhn on this right-hand side. On his left foot. Square ball to McGregor. Forward it comes to McCowan, then Kuhn. Then to McGregor. McGregor out to the left angle of the box for Jota. Facing Curtis. Skies ball to Maida. Gets it back to Jota and it's over the bar. Stays Saints 0, Celtic 5.
That'd have been some goal. Some amount of passes in that move. One side of the pitch to the other. Brilliant play. Really good. They're unlucky with the effort there in the end. Just over the bar.
Celtic like a cat playing with a ball of wool here at the moment. It really is a tough watch for the Saints fans. Those of whom are still in the stadium off to our left, fair play to them, because this has been gruesome for them. And the Celtic supporters, well, this is what they see as level par these days.
Yeah, but the thing is as well, Liam, if Aberdeen can beat Hibernian next week, they've got a lot to play for still in this season. As where Celtic win the title next week, there's another month to go before the cup final. They can relax a bit, they can take their foot off it. As where Aberdeen, if they win and beat Hibs next week, are going to have to be at it between now and the end of the season.
The thing is, still you've got Rangers.
Yeah, that's true.
And Rangers, they haven't performed well against Rangers. They've been sort of almost 3 games they haven't performed. So that's one that they want to make amends for, and it's at Ibrox.
Foul by Bernardo down on the near side, results in a St Johnstone free kick as he took Stephen out of the equation. And there's a little word with the Portuguese midfielder, and St Johnstone have a free kick as we move into minute 90 here at the National Stadium with Celtic 5-0 up against Simo Vallecari. St Johnstone, as it was highlighted earlier, they face Motherwell next week in their first bottom 6 fixture. 5 games left to save themselves. 5 points adrift at the bottom of the Premiership. St Johnstone free kick. It'll be swung in here by Stephen to the edge of the box. There's a header towards goal, which I think might have gone behind the line. Has it? No, it's still in play. Sidney Sallows having a go at the assistant to say that got over the line. Eventually a goal kick is given to Celtic.
He's been slow in his decisions, the referee, hasn't he?
I think that's
2 or 3 times.
I think that's the assistant there. I think the ball's out.
Looked out from here.
Yeah,
surely
and the assistant's got to put his flag up instantly, and he doesn't.
Well, we're hearing there might not be any stoppage time, which I think is good for everyone apart from Celtic.
There's a lovely touch from Simo Vallecari walking over to Brendan Rodgers and congratulating him.
Yeah.
Lovely touch.
Yeah, they've been well beaten today, and Celtic are through to the Scottish Cup final yet again. Their 62nd Scottish Cup final will await. They have dispatched St Johnstone with minimal fuss this afternoon, opening the scoring with 11 minutes left of that first half. Callum McGregor, lovely run into the box and shot into the bottom left corner before Maida made it 2-0 4 minutes later. Ida making it 3-0 before we went into the stoppages, where Maida added another to make the half-time scoreline 4-0. Jota got their only goal of the second half. St Johnstone had one ruled out for a foul in the build-up after Mackenzie Kirk's wonderful, thunderous finish into the top left corner. As Vallecari goes to congratulate his compatriot Sinisalo, the Celtic goalkeeper, down below us. St Johnstone well beaten. They must focus on the battle to avoid relegation. For Celtic, the treble dream, their latest treble dream, is alive and kicking, and they will be back here for the Scottish Cup final next month, which will be Aberdeen against Celtic on May the 24th. It finished here on Glasgow's south side. St Johnstone 0, Celtic 5.
The